Before you can animate your graphics, you need to make them. The good news is that you can pretty much get away with using any program which lets you add and edit shapes. There are more advanced programs like Adobe Illustrator and Affinity Designer, free programs like GIMP and Inkscape, or believe it or not, you can even make do with a program like PowerPoint. You'd be surprised by how many big YouTubers started out with something as simple as PowerPoint or Keynote. You can create some amazing things with the simplest tools. The app that I use and will be using here in this course is Affinity Designer. It's similar to Illustrator, but as a one-time purchase instead of a subscription, and it has some extra features. There's also a free trial available on their website, so you can follow along here before deciding to buy. It's a very powerful program, but it only takes a few minutes to understand the very basics. Okay, so after downloading it, I recommend creating a folder on your computer for each video you make. Inside that, 2 more folders, one for Affinity Designer documents, where you do the actual graphic design for each scene, and in the other, the individual image files you'll export from these documents so we can animate them individually, probably PNG, JPEG, or something else. You can very easily have hundreds or even thousands of these files, so you need some system to separate them. And now, let's finally open up Affinity Designer. We can choose File, New, and create a new document. And here we have its options. All we need to do is change its dimensions to 1920 by 1080 for YouTube, and click OK. On the left are all the tools we have available. On the right, colors and layers. We'll go over the buttons on the top later on. For now, let's choose the rectangle tool, click and drag, and let go to create a background. If we want to change its color, we can just double click this circle here at the top right. The circle in the background lets us choose the stroke color, in other words, the edge, but we don't need that here for our background. We can see our background rectangle shows as a layer on the right, which we could rearrange when we have more layers, and we can rename. But since this is a background, let's click the lock so we don't accidentally move or change it while we're working on the rest of the image. Now we're ready to start designing the rest of the image. We can use these tools to create more rectangles, circles, text, and whatever else. As you do so, consider the following. Consistency. Decide on an art style and try to stick with it. Maybe you're going for realism or simplicity, or just want to animate your script as text on the screen. Anything works, but try to figure something out. Balance. Most of your scenes will only be on screen for a few seconds, so don't overwhelm the viewer with too much information at once. Keep it pretty simple and well spaced out. Focus. Guide your viewer's eyes to the most important parts of the screen by centering it, adding contrast, or using arrows. A great way to get started is by searching the internet for reference photos and trying to recreate them here in Affinity Designer. To that end, I've included some downloadable reference documents with this course that you're free to experiment and practice with. Just make sure you use your own when you decide to publish. Next, let's talk about color.